The first question we're asking people is, what are your dog's names?
Oh, great. So this is Betty, and she is, oh my goodness, she's 10 now. Yeah, she's 10 years old. She's a Labradoodle. And this is Rosie. They're not sisters, but they look quite alike. And Rosie is 4.
So would you agree that your dog should be protected by law?
Ooh.
Protected from harm?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're a living they're an animal, aren't they? So I think, yeah, I think they should be. But then I suppose the question then is, should all animals be protected by law?
Yeah, what makes them different to another animal?
I probably would say that all animals should be protected.
And yet we all ate pig this morning.
So yeah, we did.
We did. We had bacon.
We did.
We did.
Unashamedly ate bacon.
Yeah,
We
but then
did.
again, I could give up meat. The argument is actually, do we actually need to eat meat? It is a bit weird when you think about it. I think it's quite weird.
Yeah, but sustainability, you can never grow enough plants at the rate people eat to be sustainable.
That's an interesting one, because I guess the animals that we eat are being fed with plants, aren't they?
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, they are, but one animal feeds more people than one plant.
But if we're breeding billions of animals and they eat so much more food than us, if all these animals are eating plants that could go to humans, then surely it's not sustainable.
How would you curb the animal population as well, though, if they're left unchecked?
Yeah, I mean, I get...
Would you be killing them just for the sake of killing them?
Yeah, so I suppose because we're breeding them, it would be more that we'd stop breeding them so they wouldn't be there in the first place, would they?
But wouldn't they just naturally breed themselves?
But the way
Stop them breeding.
the way it is now, though, they're not actually breeding naturally, so it's kind of artificial. Humans are injecting.
Yeah, that's true. But then if we stop doing that, they would still then breed naturally.
And would we
But
have
where would they be though? Because they're in like factories now. They're not out in the wild. These
If they were
pigs.
out in the wild,
But what would they be though? If we're not breeding them, they wouldn't be there, would they?
they'd be in the wild though,
But
wouldn't
the
they?
species exist.
There are like species of wild boar at the moment, yeah.
Yeah.
But I suppose
But if you
They're
put them all
breeding now.
back, like in a field out of the factory, for instance, they would just naturally
Breed.
procreate.
yeah.
Like
But I
they
suppose
would.
we wouldn't be putting them anywhere, would they? Because they wouldn't be there.
But they are right now. So what do you do with the ones that are here?
So I suppose it would be more of a gradual process of breeding less and less, so we never have that surplus of animals,
But they'd still be animals.
like there are now.
They wouldn't die out.
Yeah, I mean, there's animal sanctuaries now as well, I suppose, where pigs do still exist and stuff like that, so they wouldn't die out.
Yeah, it'd be an interesting one, wouldn't it? Because all of a sudden, you take them all out of the factories, you put them all back into a field, they're still going to breed. They might not breed at the same rate because obviously we're forcing them to breed, but there would still be an issue of overpopulation with animals. I mean, we'd be inundated with cows.
Do you think we would though?
I don't know.
I don't
Because I'm suggesting that they wouldn't be moved to a field. They just wouldn't exist. The cows that are bred for meat and chickens, they wouldn't exist
No, but the species itself still exists. They
in
would
the
never-
same sense that it does now. You mean?
Yeah, in
Yeah.
the same way, we aren't bred for meat and yet we still exist.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, the ones that still exist now in the wild, they continue the same way they are now, I suppose.
I mean, out of interest, how would you stop animals eating other animals?
It's like other predator animals. Do they have to eat animals to survive?
Yeah.
And do we?
I don't know. I don't know.
No, we don't. The body can survive completely fine without eating meat.
Can a
That's
lion
proven with
survive
loads of vegetarians.
on plants?
No. So yeah. So obviously we're not a lion.
No.
So I guess that's the distinction.
As in if we're going to stop eating
Yeah.
animals, but animals will still eat each other.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
fine.
and it's also in the sense that animals also eat their own young and they rape each other, but we don't do that.
Yeah.
Well, we do the raping.
But we wouldn't say it's moral, would we?
No.
Just because they do it.
No. But then again, they don't have free will. Not the word.
Moral agency.
That's right. They don't have we have the free will, don't we? We can
Moral
choose.
code.
We can choose what to do.
Yeah.
An animal
Compass.
doesn't have that.
Yeah.
So let's say everybody stopped eating meat today. Would it have an effect on the human body? I don't know.
But
And
also, how would you ever get everybody to get on board with something
Yeah.
like that?
Are
You know,
talking
there's
about meat or animal products? So,
Animal products.
So people going vegan.
Yeah.
So how would that again go back to children? They
So-
need milk.
They
And they need
need their mother's milk, don't they?
well, to an
some
extent.
people
but there's-
can't.
Yeah.
You know, they
Yeah,
they
and we
can't.
can have formula. So the American
Is artificial food better than natural food then?
is it natural to drink the breast milk of a cow though?
I think,
that's kind of weird.
But it's the whole cheese
Think
yogurt
about it.
argument. It's
No, the thing is, the American Dietetic Association, which is the largest organisation of nutrition experts in the world, they've released a peer-reviewed statement in 2017 saying that a well-planned vegan diet is helpful for all stages of life cycle, and that's including infancy, including childhood, including pregnancy, and for athletes.
But can I just ask, what would be the issue? You're not killing a cow in order to take its milk. What would be the issue?
I used to think exactly the same thing, but in the dairy industry, the reason she produces milk is for her baby, so she has to be pregnant to produce it. So she's artificially inseminated with bull semen, and she's pregnant for 9 months. And when her baby's born, the calf will want to drink the mother's milk. So they take the baby away, they separate them, and this creates a lot of stress for both of them. If the calf is male, he'll be sent to the slaughterhouse and killed because he doesn't produce any milk. If the calf is female, she'll become a dairy cow. And this happens to the same cow every year. She's constantly pregnant, constantly having her babies taken for around 5 years. Then she doesn't produce as much milk anymore, so she's labelled as spent and she's sent to the slaughterhouse as well.
Okay, so in the same vein, if a mother gives birth and for whatever reason they're not able to breastfeed or they have an issue with breastfeeding, and they move on to something else, surely you're creating something artificial for that baby to be able to consume for their nutrients. What would babies have if they didn't have breast milk?
There are mothers now who give their children soy formula, don't they? And you can even get donated actual human breast milk as well. But if soy formula was seen as safe and nutritious, would there be an issue with it? I mean, just because something's not natural, that doesn't necessarily make it bad.
But
so,
did you just say that they can get milk from somebody else?
So some women donate their breast milk to places.
Isn't that similar to the cow, though?
But the woman's consenting, isn't she, I suppose?
What about developing countries as well? Are you saying they should leave a vegan lifestyle when actually they farm their land, they need their animals? Yes, they also eat from the land too, but to say...
I suppose if you're putting that there and saying they need, if it's a necessity, then I suppose anything can be justified if you need to. I suppose in the day and age where we live in
the Western
London...
world, do we need to eat meat? Probably not. Do you know what? Honestly, no. But economically, very few of us are living above the poverty line. And meat is actually cheaper than a vegetarian lifestyle.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is definitely something worth noting, is that when you see vegans, unfortunately, at the moment, because it's so new, it is connected with people who have the money to be vegan. And I know that's quite a broad brush statement, but it just is. Whenever I see people who are vegans, it is in the more affluent areas.
How expensive are, let's say, rice and beans and lentils compared to like a chicken breast?
But could you live on just those 3 ingredients?
Well, but vegetables, rice, beans and lentils and vegetables aren't that
If you are a family of 6 and you have children, I, as a nanny, can tell you right now that they will not be eating rice, beans and vegetables.
That's a cultural thing, isn't it?
It is.
The issue is that anybody who does live that kind of clean lifestyle, I'll call it, because clean seems to be the fashionable word at the moment, but clean lifestyle, they are saying all of the routes you can go down to look into being a vegan, look into a clean lifestyle, is all about you have to go to your Whole Food store, you have to get really earthy vegetables, and they do cost more money than if you go to Sainsbury's or Tesco's or wherever.
I think it kind of depends on what you choose as an individual. So if I wanted to go to Holland and Barrett and get all like the vegan hot dogs and that kind of thing, then that is expensive. But I don't make a lot of money at all. So I more go to the supermarket and I just buy whole foods, vegetables, rice.
Do you buy organic vegetables or are they GM?
Do you buy fair trade?
Yeah, it's a real...
And they are more expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, but GM, I mean, but so what if it's GM?
Can you
I
think...
think it's resources though. I mean, you only have to watch, like The Island with Bear Grylls, and people who are normal people in everyday society wouldn't even dare think of killing an animal, and yet when they are put in that environment where, in order to survive, they're almost told they have to kill, they will.
But I suppose that's not the environment we're in right now, is it?
No. Instead of focusing on the meat from animals, should it not be the leather that we use?
Of course.
In terms of fashion,
Yeah.
is that more morally wrong than eating food for survival?
Do you eat meat for survival?
No, but in terms
for
of that's
pleasure,
where
isn't
it
it?
came from. Is it?
And it will have been one time in the world where people will have had to use fur to stay warm. Well, you'd say it was
Don't
wrong
eat
because we
them.
don't need to now.
Yeah.
Right. Well, if someone said to you, I'm going to kill Betty because I like the way they taste. I know it's wrong, but I like the way they taste. Would you say that was immoral?
Yeah, but I have an attachment to Betty.
You might not have an
Oh,
attachment to
won't
a human, right? You might not have an attachment to a human,
Yeah.
right? But would you think
Hannibal and I go
yeah.
home.
So obviously you don't have an attachment to me, but my life still has value, doesn't it?
So
And
decide to eat
wait, you're actually gonna leave me hanging there.
I mean, we haven't known each other that long. But
No,
yeah,
no, but you don't
we
need
do.
you don't need to have an attachment to someone. So,
Betty
like I said,
thinks
if we had another dog here,
Great.
if we had another dog here that you didn't know, so no attachment, and then you had Betty, who you don't have attachment to, do you think Betty's life has more moral value than the dog you don't know, or do you think they're both equal?
No, they're both equal. Would it extend to fish?
Is fish an animal?
This is the thing. It's a very broad topic.
Well, it's not. It's an animal, isn't it?
But we live in a country where animals don't kill us.
But I love.
Would it be different if we lived in Australia where there's a tarantula that could kill you, there's a snake that could kill you, in Africa where a lion could kill you? It's fine.
Yeah, but killing animals for the right reasons, or if there is a right reason. If I'm being attacked by a lion and it's life and death, then I think it would be okay to kill the lion.
You'd probably say the same if a human attacked you.
Exactly. Same if a human attacked me. If it was life and death, and it's either me or him, then that's a basic survival. But what the argument is we're killing out animals unnecessarily, technically, for our palate.